Hey everybody, how are you guys doing? Um, Today I found a problem online, or it's actually a theory it's called Ulam's problem, and it's actually pretty cool. It basically says that if you have any number, and as long as it's greater than 2, and you perform these following operations on it, then after all these cycles and operations, you'll finally yield the number 1. So the rules of it are, if your number is odd, then you'll multiply it by 3 and add 1. And if it's even, then you'll divide the number by 2. So in this, they give you, like, if you start with 27, if you multiply this by 3 and add 1, since it's odd, you'll get 82. And then your next loop would check if it's even or odd, and since it's even, it'll divide it by 2, and you'll get 41. And then this process will just keep going until it finally reaches number 1. So I'm going to basically do this problem in a C++ program, and to do this, it's pretty simple. You're going to use a while loop, and you're also going to use an if statement and an else if statement in that while loop. And one of your if statements, you probably can guess, is going to be checking if it's odd, and the other else if statement is going to be checking if it's even. So in our main program here, we're going to first just create an integer, and we're just going to call it integer n, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. And just for our program, let's make a cout statement that asks the user to enter any positive integer. And let's finish this. And next we need to take in this number. So we're going to do a cin statement. And now we're going to do our while loop. And if we look back at this problem, we can tell that we know that we'll want the loop to stop once we get the number 1. So while this loop is running, we're going to say that as long as n is not equal, don't capitalize that, n is not equal to 1. So as long as n isn't 1, this loop will just keep repeating. Okay, so here we're going to start our while loop, and we're going to make our first if statement. Now, to check if a number is odd in C++, you're going to do a modulo, and you'll do n modulo 2. And if it's equal to 1, then you know you have a remainder of 1, which means that your number is odd. So down below the if statement, let's go back to our problem here, and it says that if it is odd, we will multiply our number by 3 and then add 1 to it. So below if, we'll just say that n is equal to 3 times n plus 1. And actually, we can get rid of these parentheses, I think. I don't think we need them. And let's put a semicolon at the end of this. And this part right here checks for if the number is odd. So next, you need to check if the number is even. And to do this, you're going to just make an else if statement. And you're going to do another modulo and divide it by 2, but this time, don't capitalize that. This time, when you make your modulo, you're going to want it equal to 0, because this will state that there's no remainder and your number is even. So let's go back to the problem, and else let your number be divided by 2. So n equals n divided by 2. And then, just so that you can see the loop run, we're going to output our n value. That way, each time it runs, you can see what the new n variable is, and I'll put a space in there too. And that looks good. Next, I'm going to compile this real quick. And it does compile, but before I run it, I'm just going to make one more cout statement that is saying, just to let us know that before our while loop starts, these are going to be the operations output. I guess that doesn't really matter, but just so you see that after you enter your number, there's going to be an output of what this loop is doing. So let's compile it again, and we're going to run this program. So, oops. I bring this up here. We can see it asks to enter any positive integer. So let's do the number 27, because that's what that problem has online. And here are all the operations that it does. So this looks like it's doing the right thing, because 27, 82, 41, 124, 82, 41, 124. So you can see that this loop, can't even see it all because my window isn't open, but if you see all these operations, it loops, keeps looping, and it finally gets to where it goes down to 1. So you can do this with any number, which is, I think this is kind of cool, because if you enter any number, it just outputs a ton, but every time it does actually give you a 1. And that's pretty much it. It works, and it's not really useful, but it kind of shows you how to do a modulo and find if a number is even and odd. It also shows you how to do a while loop, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching.